01733 856699 or visit our new office at 304 Lincoln Road. Insure 24/7. We've got you covered. Insure 24/7 is authorised and regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Qala an-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Innal ghadaba yufsidul imana kama yufsidus sabirul asal. That anger ruins faith just like the aloe plant ruins honey.
Broadcasting 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This is Salam Radio. In the heart of Peterborough, this is Salam Radio.
Assalamu alaikum, good afternoon. This is, of course, Salam Radio 106.2 FM. It's 5 o'clock, and this is Amir Suleman with your Friday drive back on air for you and for our listeners in Luton on Inspire FM 105.1. Welcome, Assalamu alaikum. So, how are you doing? I hope you're all looking after yourself, and I hope you've enjoyed that little mini heat wave that we had. Listen, Salam Radio is not only on 106.2 FM. I do like to remind you, you can also listen online at salamradio.co.uk via the TuneIn app on iPhone or Android. If you haven't got it, download it. It's a great app. And of course, our live shows, including this one, are also streamed live on Twitter, Facebook and YouTube. I want to give a little special shout out for this particular show because we're in a transition. We don't have a station manager at the moment, but Monday, inshallah, we'll have a new station manager. So today, my son Ali, who's just turned 14, is stepping up as station manager and looking after the show. So Jazakallah khair, Ali. Good luck. Hope it all goes well. Don't make me look bad. Interesting show lined up for you today. 10 top tips for parents sending their children to school for the first time ever. Joel Lamy from the Peterborough Telegraph will be joining us soon by phone to discuss the week's news. And touching on new research which is revealing that we're wearing more plastic than we realise. Yes, wearing more plastic than we realise. And after the break, two young gentlemen, Lukhman Ali and Toby Hoten, two young artists discussing their work, joining us in the studio and the fantastic community initiatives they're involved in. Plus, we'll squeeze in the results of a new survey out today which reveals over a third of people dismiss possible signs of blood cancer. Would you believe it?
With you 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This is Salam Radio.
But before all that, let's kick off your Friday evening with Saif Adam's After Hardship Comes Ease.
Well, I know it's more than love now, 'cause you mean everything. Hear you talking when you're sleeping. Reality, know you're going through hardship, and I know that you're scared, but you don't need to worry, 'cause Allah is there. Ooh, oh, I will never let you go. You're my heart, my life, my soul, and the choices that we make, we gotta make our own. Gonna stand on our feet as we take this direction. When we take on the world, all the diamonds and pearls couldn't take me away from your smile and your love. And I know you feel love, and you wanna give up. After every hardship comes ease, hardship comes ease. May Allah bless our way and our intention. Stay pure every day, be a better person. I'm listening, listening. Somewhere a father of a child, with all the loving I provide. Children sleeping through the night, the mother singing a lullaby. Oh, I will never let you go. You're my heart, my life, my soul. And the choices that we make, we gotta make our own. Gotta stand on our feet as we take this direction. Oh, 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 oh. When we take on the world, all the diamonds and pearls couldn't take me away from your smile and your love. And I know you feel lost and you wanna give up. After every hardship comes easy, hardship comes easy. When we take on the world, all the diamonds and pearls couldn't take me away from your smile and your love. And I know you feel lost and you wanna give up. After every hardship comes easy, hardship comes easy.
Safe Adam, after hardship comes ease. Haven't played that one for a while actually. Nice reminder for us all there from Safe Adam. Now, in a few minutes, Joel Lamy from the Peterborough Telegraph is going to be with me on the phone discussing the week's news and, of course, the big fire that happened yesterday in Woodstone. So we'll be talking about that, I'm sure. But before that, new school uniform, name tags sewn on, shoes lined up. Households around the country are getting everything in place to make sure their children are ready for the big send-off. But who is checking in that the parents themselves are prepared? Well, new research by Tiny Pop reveals almost half of parents, that's about 47%, admit to getting nervous about their little sweethearts starting school. With a new chapter comes new challenges, and mums and dads are unsurprisingly apprehensive about their child being equipped and ready for the next stage in their education. So perhaps it's not the children who need their hands held, but the parents themselves. So in the run-up to the big day, are there any fail-safe ways to master bedtimes, conquer a new morning routine, and navigate the relentless logistics of the school run? Well, Tiny Pop have given out 10 top tips for parents sending their kids to school for the first time ever. Number 1, don't wait until the first day. If there's been a niggle or a worry over summer, don't wait until the morning the school gates open to ask your question. You'll find that most schools have cover over the summer, and there should be someone around to answer your query. So spend the remaining few days of these holidays looking forward to starting school, not worrying about what shoes are acceptable, for example. Number 2, be prepared. With that in mind, make sure the school have been made aware in advance of any issues or medical requirements such as allergies or inhalers. The first day is really not the time to be sharing that sort of information, so ensure you have enough medication in advance for school bags and the office. And have a solid plan in place for travel to and from school, and keep your child and teachers informed of all arrangements on how to get home or who's picking them up to minimise any anxiety for you and your child. Help your child be prepared is number 3. Make buying a new bag and school essentials into a fun activity for your little one. Putting the new backpack, pencil case and PE kit together in advance will not only focus their mind that school is important and happening, but make them feel involved and excited. Also, new things are always fun for kids anyway. Number 4, make sure everything has a place. Obvious statement: uniform, bag, books, shoes, everything in a right place that can be easily found. Number 5, do a routine run through in advance, just so that there are no wobbles on the big day to make you late and flustered. Why not do a dry run of the new morning routine in advance? That's a good advice actually, that one. Number 6, be prepared for those wobbles, because they will come. Nerves and excitement could result in tears, tantrums and clumsy fingers. So remember, it's a big deal for everyone, so if it all gets too much, take a few deep breaths and try not to get them and yourself even more flustered. 7, an important one: discuss lunch. Make sure your child knows what they're eating, whether it's a school dinner or a packed lunch. It's important they don't go hungry and their meal has been worked out for them. 8, talk about treats. It's a big deal starting school, and your child should feel a little special and excited about it all. Discuss all the good things that happen, such as making new friends and learning new things. Maybe suggest a treat for finishing the first week or for making the first new friend, such as a trip to the park after pick-up one day. 9. Let's not make too big a deal of it all. Yes, it's exciting to start a new school or class, but really focusing on the novelty could cause more nerves. School is now going to be a constant part of your everyday lives, so the sooner you make it part of your routine, the better. And finally, number 10, be proud. Probably the most important one of all. It's hard sometimes in all the preparation to remember just how far they've come in their little lives, and now a new chapter begins for them, and you also. That's something to be proud of. Some good tips there from Tiny Pop. They have got a website, tinypop.com. Check them out for more advice on how to prepare yourself, not just your child, for their first day at school ever. Now, joining me on the phone, without further ado, is Joel Lamy from the Peterborough Telegraph. Good evening, Joel.
Good evening.
How are you?
I'm very good, yes. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. First of all, congratulations from all of us at Salam Radio for your very recent marriage to Naomi, who also used to help us out here on Salam Radio.
Well, thank you, yes. No, that's very kind of you.
What was it, about 3 weeks ago?
Oh, it was the 9th, so yeah.
It is about
3 weeks, isn't
3
it?
weeks?
Already? Well,
I bet that's flown by, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has.
Well, many congrats, Joel. Obviously, a magical day. I saw some photos on Facebook. Looked amazing. Joel, now you're here to help us get to grips with the week's news. I think we need to start with the fire that took place yesterday evening.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you come in a very good time because literally in the last sort of 15 minutes or so, police have confirmed there have been 5 arrests.
Wow.
5 teenagers have been arrested relating to arson. So they're in custody at the minute. I mean, it's a bit of a shock to get that coming in at sort of 5 o'clock on a Friday when you think you're going to be winding down for the afternoon. But yeah, that's just been announced. The police have also confirmed there was around £2 million worth of damage caused to trailers at Hoten.
Goodness gracious! So this news, Joel, this news of the 5 alleged arsonists that have been arrested has literally just come in about 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, I had the email 4:52 p.m. and literally just hit our website, and the youngest one is 15 who's been arrested. So
Goodness me.
Really, I know, a bit of a shock. I mean, the last night was a bit of a shock as well. I was just heading out and I had a phone call come in saying, "Do you know anything about this fire?" And I thought, it won't be that much. And then he goes, it's covering the whole city. So I thought, I won't be going out for a while. Yeah, I mean, what we can say, obviously we have to be a little bit careful now that legal proceedings are active, but
yeah,
it was I mean, regardless of what caused it, it was a huge incident. I mean, we have been inundated with photos from people across Peterborough and outside Peterborough as well, you know, Whittlesey, Stilton, saying,
wow,
look at the smoke. And some of the photos truly are just spectacular, some of the photos of all the smoke in the air.
Yeah, I mean,
really did cover Peterborough.
Yeah, I was at the studio here when the fire, I think, soon began, and I left the studio at what time was it? It would have been 8 o'clock, and I was driving home, and I could see over the Crescent Bridge just the amount of smoke that was over the city, and you could smell it as well. It was it was everywhere. And how many trailers was it that was set alight?
The number seems to keep changing. So we were told 52. Police have said 48. I mean, I think if you say around 50, you're in the right area either way.
Okay. And were there any were there any injuries or harm to human life at all?
No, fortunately there were no injuries, which seemed remarkable at the time. I mean, people sent us videos of explosions going off. So, I mean, the fear was that it could be very catastrophic. But no, incredibly, no one was hurt in this. Despite a number of ambulance crews being at the scene.
And just how many numbers of fire personnel were there to deal with this blaze?
There were around 55 who were there. That's from about 5 different counties as well. Even like Norfolk, Suffolk, we're talking about were at the scene helping out. So a huge effort, and at the same time they were dealing with a number of other fires as well. I know there was one in Facet, which a big stack fire as well, which took a few hours to put out. So incredible effort to really deal with that, and also deal with everything else that was going on at the same time. So
absolutely, I mean, they rightly should be commended. I mean, these guys put literally put their lives on the line for our safety. So hats off to them for their remarkable effort. So, is there anything else you can tell us about this fire, Joel? Any other sort of? What will happen next? I suppose is the big question. If they've arrested 5 people,
yes,
yeah.
Well, the trailers themselves were said to have been carrying parts of white goods. That's what Hotpoint sell. Your fridges, freezers, washing machines, etc.
Yeah.
What happens is police haven't made the arrests. They haven't said what time the arrests were made, but they get 24 hours to question, and then they have to make a decision whether to release, charge, etc. So I imagine there'll be updates over the weekend. Police don't tend to proactively put too much stuff out during weekends, but I think of an incident of this nature, it's likely we'll get an update of some sort. And then if they are charged, then they will be in court on Monday. They won't be named at that point, but they would go to court. If they do end up being charged, so any chance of them being named would only come if they were ever prosecuted and the judge decided that would be the case. Well, at least the ones who were under 18 anyway. There is one who's 19, which would be different. So
right.
We'll see what happens over the next few days. Other than that, I suppose it's up to the police now to do their work.
Absolutely. Well, we'll be, I'm sure all of Peterborough will have their eyes firmly on peterboroughtoday.co.uk and, of course, the Peterborough Telegraph Facebook page for all the latest as it happens. But, Joel, so what else has, aside from the fire, what else has been happening this week in and around Peterborough?
Well, I mean, it's been plenty going on. One piece I would like to mention, it isn't online yet, it's going online Sunday morning, but there was a big 2-page piece in this week's paper. It's to do with special education needs. Effectively, Peterborough City Council and our clinical commissioning groups, the people who commission health services in Peterborough and Cambridgeshire, are basically being told that their efforts to support children with special education needs in Peterborough is frankly inadequate. And there are major concerns, and there are a number of issues which have been raised. We've spoken to a few people about this. So that's one piece I think is extremely important, because effectively what we're being told is the money isn't there to bring that support in, which is quite a scary thought, really, when it comes to obviously maybe some of the vulnerable people in the city, that the money just isn't there to help them. So that is certainly one piece I would like to flag up, which will be online Sunday morning, but it is in the paper currently.
That's a very interesting story there, and a saddening story, isn't it? Given the general state of special educational needs resources. But does the article that we'll read on Sunday or today, if we've bought the paper, does it go into details as to why it's underfunded?
Well, the money comes from the government, and effectively it's the government's decision on how much money to give.
Right.
And I suppose it's like we all know, I think, what's happening with the public sector at the minute. There's been a squeeze on, and essentially you could go through you go to police. I mean, I've been speaking to the police and crime chief today, and he said, about more police officers coming to Peterborough, and he was joined by the Conservative Party chairman. He said, look, the reason we've had cuts in the past is because he claims, that the national finances have been in a terrible state and we had to make difficult decisions, is what he said. So effectively, there's a lack of money going around, and services just haven't had the investment that they need, or at least that's what's being claimed anyway.
Indeed.
So, yeah, and so that basically all the authorities here have written to the government saying, look, we urgently need money, and the government said, we are reviewing spending, and, you'll find out soon.
Interesting. Well, I look forward to reading that story and finding out more about that story on Sunday, Joel. What else is worthwhile mentioning, do you think, in terms of news this week?
Well, we all know Brexit's in the news, and I like to avoid it normally because
The B word. Yes.
The B word. But this is a little bit different. We have a chef in Peterborough. I must admit, I'm a bit worried about pronouncing his surname wrong. His first name is Damien.
Okay.
Not very good with pronunciations, but he's the owner of the House of Feast restaurant in I Green. He's been causing quite a big stir because effectively he's been living here 15 years. He says he's worked every day since he's been here. The day he came here, he got a job he started his work the next day.
Yeah.
And he basically applied for indefinite right to remain, so settled status, and he said he didn't get it, but his partner did, despite the fact that he says he's completely qualified for it. Anyway, it caused a bit of a stir on social media. The Home Office called him, it's all been sorted out. He says he's helping hundreds of other people who are in the same boat as him, but just don't have the same publicity that someone like him, who's a fairly well-known chef, who's cooked to the Olympics, who's cooked for the royal family.
Wow.
So he gives a bit of insight into his battle and what he's doing now, etc., to help people on an informal basis. You can't physically do applications, but getting them in touch with lawyers with specialist knowledge. So his story is featured quite heavily in the paper. It's also been online as well, which can be read.
Is that case? Do you know if his case, in terms of excuse me, turning that decision around, has he set a precedent in some form by doing that?
Well, you speak to the Home Office, and their argument is we'd never refused. They claim his application was for what they call pre-settled status. So that basically gives you 5 years there. You can't leave the country for sort of a continuous period of time, and in 5 years' time you have to apply again. Now, he says that's completely not true, that he applied for settled status, giving him right to stay here indefinitely. So it's a little bit of counterclaim over that, but it does seem quick that his application's been upgraded within about a week to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
From one to another. That is very quick. And
it is.
In all honesty as well, he said, look, there's a lot of other people who claiming the same thing as I'm claiming, and are having the same thing happen to them. So he's saying, I'm not an isolated case. You may not believe me, but look at all these other people the same thing's happening to. So very possibly it is something that, especially as we do get close to October 31st, that this may sort of raise its head again, and we see more of this happening, in which case his case very much may be seen as something that was a bit of a precedent, as you say.
Interesting. Very interesting. Joel, thank you. We've got time for one more briefly. If you have another story you'd like to talk about.
Yeah, I suppose the final one I'd like to mention, I'm hoping I'm trying to keep a bit of a variety to the subject. Peterborough City Council, its budget, there were allegations it created an illegal budget by using, but I don't want to bore people too much, but effectively it was selling off buildings, etc., things it owned, and using that to pay off its debt. Again, it's had its funding cut. Now, there were claims that what it was doing was illegal. Now, the government has come back after an investigation and said it's taking no further action. Now, this has caused a bit of an interest because effectively the government hasn't come out and said there was no wrongdoing here. The council has said we're taking the fact that they're taking no action as a sign that we've done nothing wrong. Now, if you look at the government statement closely, it says they're going to clarify the guidelines. Now,
right.
If there was no wrongdoing at all, you would expect the government body to say, no, nothing wrong here. They've not said that, so this one may run a bit further in the future because it's a very serious subject, and if the council had done an illegal budget, then the spending plans would have been illegal, and we all know that what's happened in Northampton, with their problems there.
Indeed,
it could have caused a huge problem here. So potentially something that will be rearing its head again in the near future.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this one pans out. As you say, Joel, I think there is probably a little more to the story than we know at the moment, as you've said. So, yeah, I think all eyes will be on this one going forward. Joel, listen, thank you so much for joining me here on Friday Drive. This show is fortnightly, so hopefully same time in a couple of weeks, I hope.
Absolutely, yeah. I look forward to it.
Wonderful. Joel, thank you so much. Joel is, of course, a journalist from Peterborough Telegraph, who will be joining us every 2 weeks when this show is on. It's a fortnightly show to give us kind of the latest, and we really did get the latest today. Literally in the last half an hour, news came in of 5 arrests, people of varying ages, between the ages, I think it was 15 and 19, for alleged arson for the fire at the Hot Point site, or the Whirlpool site, whatever you want to call it, yesterday. So very interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens and develops. Do stay tuned. We've got plenty more to come. Just after the break, I'm going to touch on a new research that has revealed we are wearing more plastic than we realise. It sounds like an odd one, but when I read you these details, you'll be surprised. It's fascinating that we're wearing more plastic than we realised. And of course, after the break, I'm going to be joined by 2 young gentlemen, Lukhman Ali and Toby Hoten, who are 2 very, very talented young artists. An artist in the sense of the word, we're talking spoken word and other art, and I'm not quite sure about Toby yet, so we're going to find out. I'm going to learn about Toby with you, and they'll be discussing their work and the fantastic community initiatives that they're involved in. And then, of course, we'll squeeze in probably a track or 2 and the results of a new survey out today, which reveals over 1/3 of people dismiss possible signs of blood cancer. A very troubling survey this is, and there's some interesting statistics. Please do stay tuned. Of course, if you do want to get involved, 07745 278 978. We'll be back with you in 4 minutes.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.
Here at Children of Adam, we believe water wells and hand pumps are a significant step to empowering people to live their best life. A hand pump donation is an excellent form of sadaqah jariyah for loved ones, including those who have passed away. Sa'd ibn Ubadah reported, he said, "O Messenger of Allah, the mother of Sa'd has died, so what is the best charity I may give on her behalf?" The Messenger of Allah, peace and blessings be upon him, said, "Water." Sa'd dug a well and said, "This is for the mother of Sa'd." A water pump is £150. Please donate by visiting childrenofadam.net or call us on 0300 321 0032.
Had a car accident or an accident at work? Accident specialists are experts in no-win, no-fee accident claims. Leave the hassle to us. Our multilingual settlement experts will manage the entire claims process on your behalf, with nothing to pay up front. We provide services such as credit hire, taxi vehicles, recovery, storage and much more. For full details on our range of services and a free consultation, call us on 01733 555 774 or visit our office at 249 Lincoln Road opposite the NatWest Bank. Accident specialists. Start your successful claim today.
Ever thought of joining the fire service? We will be recruiting for firefighters in September, so why not come along to the next 2 information sessions on the 31st of July and the 7th of August, 11 till 1 p.m. at Alama Iqbal Centre, 157 Cromwell Road, Peterborough, PE1 2EL. Booking is not essential, so do come along and find out more about the role, process and how to apply. For more information, call Fazana Qusair on 07825 506 691. We value diversity and actively encourage applications from all sections of the community. You could soon be starting your firefighting career, serving communities across Cambridgeshire.
Feel like some great tasting chicken tonight? Great meal deals, wraps, burgers and sides. We've got it all at Chicken Palace. Call and collect at 302 Lincoln Road on 01733 702 447 or 8 Park Road on 01733 343750. Chicken Palace, open 11 a.m. till late.
If you're planning a boutique celebration, there's only one choice, Mumtaz Leeds. From boutique weddings to engagement parties, birthdays to work dues, with seating for up to 300 people, a perfect location and free car park. Plus, we have a private dining suite for 80 people with a beautiful waterfront view. Pre-wedding teas, parties and breakfasts also available. Mumtaz Leeds. Call 0113 242 4211.
या अल्लाह हमारे जहनों में इस्लाम का सही तसव्वुर कायम फरमा। या रब्बुल आलमीन हमारे दिलों में अपने हबीब नबी करीम सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम की सच्ची मोहब्बत पैदा फरमा दे। या इलाहुल आलमीन हमारे दुनियावी और दीनवी तमाम मामलात को दुरुस्त फरमा दे। या अल्लाह हमारे सीनों में इस्लाम की सच्ची तड़प पैदा फरमा। या रब्बुल आलमीन हम सबको नमाज पढ़ने, पाबंदी से नमाज पढ़ने और बाजमात नमाज पढ़ने की तौफीक अता फरमा। आमीन सुम्मा आमीन।
Broadcasting 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. This is Salam Radio.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Salam Radio. It's now 5:30 and we've got a little American guy that will actually tell us it's 5:30. If I've set this up right, let's try the tech.
It's 5:30.
It is 5:30. What about that? Fantastic. 106.2 FM, Salam Radio, if you're listening on FM, or of course Facebook, Twitter, YouTube Live, and welcome of course back to our listeners in Luton via Inspire FM on 105.1. This is Amir Suleman's Friday Drive. Now I promised you a quick piece here on some new research that's come out in the past day, which reveals we are wearing more plastic than we realise. This is fascinating. So we're all keen, as most of us are at least, to do our bit for the environment, and reducing, reusing and recycling plastic has become commonplace for many. Plastic bags, straws and bottles have had their moment under the spotlight, and now eyes are on what we wear. So this new research by Asda Opticians has found that 86% of Brits are unaware that what we wear contains traces of plastic. And the UK's most worn outfit apparently is a t-shirt coupled with a pair of jeans and trainers, which together contains the same amount of plastic as 25 500ml bottles. Fascinating. And a t-shirt typically contains the same amount as 5 bottles, with jeans containing 10. Actually, my jeans probably contain 50 bottles, to be honest, based on the size. And a pair of trainers also equating to 10 bottles. Now, when it comes to making sustainable choices, there are more options available now than ever before. Glasses are the latest addition to the list, with dedicated ranges now available that are made from recycled and sustainable materials. Now, this comes as a welcome addition, as it's been revealed that 2 in 5 Brits don't recycle their glasses. I know I don't, to be honest, despite most pairs being made from plastic. Now, many of us are seemingly clueless when it comes to plastic content in what we wear, but it seems the younger generation are leading the way in the UK's eco-consciousness. 40% of 18 to 34-year-olds check to see whether an item of clothing is sustainable before making a purchase. And I'll check that with our 2 guests in a moment, who are definitely in that age range, and that's compared to just 13% of 45 to 54-year-olds. That's me. However, change is on the horizon, as 77% of Brits admit to now being more willing to buy sustainable fashion than they were 5 years ago. Fascinating, absolutely fascinating. This is new research by Asda Opticians. I suspect a new way for them to sell more glasses as well, but still I read it out, so it's all good. Listen, we are now joined in the studio by 2 young gentlemen, Lukhman Ali and Toby Hoten. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
How are you doing?
Yeah, all right.
Good, good, fantastic. Now, you're, I'm going to call you both artists, because you are. I know Lukhman is a spoken word artist, and Toby, you're a wood sculptor. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Fantastic. Okay, now we're going to talk about a number of things, but first and foremost, I'm going to say 2 words: peace project. Lukhman, talk to me about this.
So we're part of a project called Paper Peace. The whole aim behind Paper Peace as a project is to highlight the perceptions of peace. We live in a sort of multifaceted society with different cultural backgrounds and heritages and stuff. So the real aim is to sort of show how different backgrounds, cultures and sort of experiences lead to a perception of peace. So we've got 5 cities that are involved in it. Each city is going to be creating a big art sculpture. So it's going to be in the shape of an eyeball. The eyeball will actually allow 20 people, I believe.
Yeah, 20.
Yeah, 20 people to actually enter the eyeball and experience.
Oh, actually go inside.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is big.
Yeah, it's going to be really big.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's going to have 20 people to be able to go into each eyeball.
Yeah.
The eyeballs will be touring around the UK. So at any given time, one city will have all 5 eyeballs, and you'll be able to walk through these eyeballs to perceive the piece or to see the piece and the heritages of peace in that city. So we're Peterborough based. So ours is Peterborough.
Yeah.
That is what an amazing concept.
Yeah.
I'm guessing never been done before, anything like this, really. I would think.
Nothing comes to mind immediately.
Nothing comes to mind.
No.
Walking into a massive eyeball you'd remember that, right?
Yeah.
I hope so.
But I love the idea and the feeling behind that is immense.
Yeah.
So how did this all come about? How did it start? Is it a long story?
We were approached as individuals. I was approached just while I was minding my own business at work by someone representing this project.
Yeah.
And they just asked if I'd be interested in joining in with something like this. And I thought, yeah, I mean, they described it to me in a way that I thought it sounds like a really important project. You know, I like the message that it was going to send, all about peace and unity and all these kinds of things.
Yeah.
I really wanted to get on board with it.
So far, what sort of traction have you got behind this project? Is it mostly for people of your age group, or are you getting sort of varied ages?
I think because of the climate we live in at the moment, there are so many people that are conscious and really want to create this sense of peace and unity.
Yeah.
That we've had interest from all age ranges. There is a lot of interest from our age range. There's sort of 18 to 25-year-old age range. But older than that as well, we've had a lot of interest from the different communities that we've approached, and also the different groups or organisations. For example, one is DPIP, which is Digital People in Peterborough. We're also some of the different sort of poetry networks that I've got, and Toby with his art scene. So there's definitely been interest from different age ranges and groups as well.
Fantastic. That's encouraging, right? And motivating as well, I would guess.
Yeah, it's keeping us going.
Yeah, I would think so. Toby, let's come to you for a second. Now, I've been reliably informed that you're a fine art graduate living in Peterborough now, not always. So you weren't born here, right?
I was born close to here.
Close to here. We'll forgive you for that. It's fine. Don't worry, I've only been here 5 years myself. And you're working with other members of the community on projects promoting interconnectivity and expression whilst developing your own personal work and craft. So tell us a bit about this personal work and craft piece.
Well, where to start? Mainly started during my first year of university.
Okay.
And I was walking around exploring some of the buildings on the campus, and I was sort of quite amazed by the amount that was thrown out. The skips were just constantly overflowing with, even if it was just old furniture that was being replaced for the start of the new year.
Yeah.
But one of my favourite sort of finds was they had this one enormous skip around the back of the art building that loads of the architecture students had sort of discarded their projects in. And they had a significant amount of funding, so they had really good materials that then they would just throw away.
Right.
So I'd turn up nice and early in the morning, get myself a coffee, sit down at my desk in my studio, and then think, right, I need some resources. So I'd head straight out to the skip, dig around for about an hour or so, find one of the old Asda shopping trolleys that one of the other kids had like stolen or something, and then just load it up with scraps of plywood or whatever materials I could find, and then just take it into the studio and see where that took me. So whether it was following the wood grains to sort of see a pattern in that, or whether it was noticing what was on the wood that had been discarded and then sort of seeing if I could transform that into something else, or bring new life into something that someone had thrown away.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I've got to ask the very obvious question: have you always been an, in quotes, arty type, or has it come kind of in your later years?
Maybe around GCSE level, I think I got into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So about 15, 16.
Yeah, and a lot of that was kind of down to the people who I really got on well with, especially the teachers. Had some really good teachers, which is a huge part of, I think, where you end up in life. They're quite influential people.
That's refreshing to hear someone of your age say that, to be honest. You don't hear it enough.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
you just hear people slating teachers.
They offer quite a good thing on like a personal level.
Yeah.
If you click with someone, then that could lead to you sort of identifying more with the ideas and subjects that they're teaching.
Brilliant.
But started around GCSE level. Really enjoyed the space that they created at the school, and just felt very much like it was a lot less exam-y, So there was a lot more expression and a lot more of sort of being able to not just have to study all the time. You can actually get up and have a walk around and clear your head for a minute.
Fantastic. Sounds great. Thank you for that. Lukhman, let's come to you. Now, you're, it says here, young, and I know you are. You're a young spoken word artist based out of Peterborough, and your work is largely based on your experience growing up as a third-generation migrant. Now, you're currently working on a few community-based initiatives, Paper Peace being one of them, focusing on cross-cultural dialogue, mental health within the South Asian community, and poetry within junior schools. Let's go to that one, the poetry within junior schools. I'm intrigued about that.
So I've recently been approached to be a part of a project called I Know, I Wish, I Will.
Okay.
And this is a project alongside Eastside Education Trust.
Right.
So Matt, who's the director of Eastside Education Trust, I was lucky enough to meet him when I went to a poetry slam in Birmingham.
Okay.
And I always joke with Toby, it's always a sort of situation of right time, right place. And I'm very fortunate, and I sort of thank God for that.
Yeah.
So they got into contact with me and said, oh, do you want to be a part of this? We've got a couple of poets in Peterborough that will be running workshops, and you as a young producer, do you want to go and sort of shadow? And I was like, yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
And Keely Mills, I don't know if you know
I know Keely very well.
Yeah, Keely, a fantastic person. She's been really supportive and really helpful through my journey in the arts, if you will.
Wonderful.
And she's actually the producer that I'll be shadowing.
Oh, right.
So the idea is that we're going to go into schools around Peterborough. So there's two artists. So one's Charlie Jennifer, who's also an ex-poet laureate, and Keely. So both of Keely and Charlie will have young producers that will be shadowing them. And we'll be going into about three or four schools, primary schools that is, and just running workshops on poetry. And the end, I wouldn't say the end goal, because you should never really sort of set a goal, just go and see where it ends.
Yeah.
But the plan is that we'll have 25 hours of consecutive poems, and that will be a world record.
25 hours?
Yeah, 25 hours.
So is there a record already? So
yeah, I believe so. Well, there must be.
I'm 24.
It must be something like 24 and 59 minutes.
Wow.
But yeah,
25 hours?
Yeah, and I think that's to celebrate the 25 years of Eastside Education Trust.
Okay.
So they've hit their 25th birthday, and it's to sort of celebrate that. So yeah, it's going to be going into schools and really empowering the youth to start using their voice, using the power that they've got with their voice, and really realizing that whatever they say can mean a great deal, so they can actually achieve something through it, and that's really the idea behind it.
That's fantastic. Mashallah, what a great initiative, and especially working with people even younger than yourself in a junior school, right?
Yeah.
So ages, what ages are we talking about?
So we're talking from about, I'd say, 7 to 11.
Oh wow!
Around that age group, maybe a little bit younger for some of the children.
Yeah.
But it's really, with poetry, the amazing thing in spoken word is the fact that it doesn't always necessarily require you to be able to write down something.
Okay.
So this is the amazing thing that I've always found in poetry. For example, looking back culturally for South Asian communities, Islam was spread through poetry, through qawwali, and through other sort of music forms, because a lot of the people there were illiterate, so they couldn't write. So it was just spread through word, and poetry enables someone who might be a migrant who can't necessarily write or read English, just to be able to sort of speak and express themselves in whichever way they want.
Indeed.
So that's the amazing thing about poetry. So you might go into a primary school and hear one of the most linguistically amazing poems, but then you might ask this child, oh, do you want to write it down? And they might not be able to, but they can still speak it, and they can actually still be confident in speaking it, because that's their truth.
I understand. Love it. Love the way you've explained that. And 7 to 11-year-olds, it's effectively their minds are there for moulding, right?
Yeah.
They're very impressionable age, even beyond that. I mean, impressionable, but to make a mark with poetry in their young minds is a very powerful thing, I would guess.
Yeah, I mean, for myself personally, I feel very fortunate that I'd say poetry found me. Because it's enabled me to deal with situations in my life a lot differently than I might have done without it.
Right.
So I've been writing poetry since I was very young.
How young are we talking?
I'd say the first poem I probably saw in school was maybe the roses are red, violets are blue sort of poem.
Okay.
And I thought, wow, man, like, yeah, they are red and violets are blue. Do you know what I mean? Like, this has got something. And so then I went home and I think I wrote a poem. It might have been something about like a teacher telling me off in school and like me being angry about the fact that she told me off.
Right.
So I must have written a poem about it, and I probably wouldn't have been able to read it after, because my writing is atrocious. I always joke that I've got doctor's handwriting, but my mum reminds me that doctors can write neatly when they want to. But yeah, we'll skip past that one.
Brilliant.
But yeah, so I started really young, about 6 or 7, around the same age as the sort of kids that we're going to be going in and sort of helping. And I've just been writing whenever I've felt some type of way, if you will. So whenever I was angry or happy or whatever sort of emotion I had, I'd write. And it enabled me to put it down onto paper.
Yeah.
And then actually jot it down and say, okay, this is how I'm feeling, so you understand your emotions. Before you're just feeling emotional, once you've written it down, you can actually understand it because you put it down into a sort of a context or a word.
Wow. Amazing. We're going to come back because I want to talk about the Lads and Dads initiative, of course. Now remember, this is your community radio station, which means that you can get involved with the shows, and if you want to come on air, give salam or just a shout out to anyone or have a track request even, this is how you get in touch.
To get involved, call 01733 602 133. This is Salam Radio.
It's 5:44.
I love that. Right, it's I'm going to keep doing that every minute. Right, it's 5:44, and we've got time to. We're, if you just joined us, we're with Lukhman Ali and Toby Hoten. Am I saying your surname correctly?
Yeah, that's right.
Hoten, thank you. Not often I get that right. And now listen, you guys have talked about the Paper Peace project. We'll come back to that at the very end. We've got a few minutes left. Lukhman, the Lads and Dads Chat Over Chai initiative. Now, the reason I want to talk about it is not just because I want to help you promote it, but I attended the first one.
You did?
And absolutely loved it, but I want you to put it in your own words. What is this?
Fab. So, the Lads and Dads Chat Over Chai initiative, it was set up because within our community, I feel like that there's a sort of a void. And this void is mental health.
Okay.
And we sort of always walk around it and hope that we can sort of evade it by walking around it. And we don't. And I was approached by someone who mentioned that there was something called Andy's Man Club. And Andy's Man Club is a group of guys, just blokes getting together, having a chat, do you know what I mean? And it's not necessarily about mental health. It might just be about how their week's been or whatever it is.
Sure.
And I thought, yeah, fab, I'm going to get people to go to Andy's Man Club. But then I thought, in my community, Andy's Man Club might not be necessarily representative of it, because thus far I've not really met many Andy Allies. So I thought, okay, we need to do something that will attract the community. And the idea behind Lads and Dads is because I think that a bond, or a stronger bond between fathers and sons, needs to be made. Because I believe that the relationship between a father and son is immensely important.
Of course.
And to do that, we need to get them together in a space where they both feel safe. And chai, it's a staple in our community. People love to have a cup of chai. And so I thought, okay, we'll do it on this. We'll have a couple of biscuit and we'll have some chai. And we'll just have people chatting, just a frank conversation, just about whatever they want, a safe space. So what I did is I applied for funding from the Arts Council England. And I received the funding, and I ran one of the workshops, the Lads and Dads Chat Over Chai, which you so graciously attended, which was fantastic because we actually had such an important conversation.
We did.
And from that, it really has shaped the way I see things, because prior to that, I thought I sort of understood where we were in our community, but I realised after that I didn't know where we were in terms of it.
Okay.
So before, I sort of wrongly made an assumption that people were ignorant to a lot of the issues. But I realised that there's not an ignorance to it. There's just a hope that it might go away if we don't look at it.
That's a fair comment. Fair comment.
There's not an ignorance. I'd say there's no one that's ignorant. Everyone most people understand it. It's just that we're hoping that it will sort of disappear on its own if we stop thinking about it. Which it doesn't.
So it's not a conscious sweeping under the carpet. It's kind of just a hope, isn't it?
It's genuinely a hope. And so that the reason for this is just to get blokes together, to create a safe space where people can have a conversation, have a chat, drink a cup of tea, and then build networks and connections that might even be useful to them outside.
Absolutely.
In the last one, we had Carl over there.
I remember Carl.
Yeah, and you had like a really amazing conversation about sort of the technology that you use in the radio station. Carl's a DJ. So it's just sort of creating these connections with people. There was also a gentleman that owned a Polish newspaper. So it was just, this can also be a situation where people can get together and just have a conversation and build networks and friendships and things like that.
Well, I highly recommend it. Have you got a date for another one or not?
So what we're going to do in November, I know you'll be mentioning this in a little while, but we're going to have the Poetry Festival. So as a part of that, it will have another Lads and Dads Chat Over Chai in the start of November. And I'll be coming on to Salam, inshallah, and advertising it there.
Of course. So let's move on to that. We've got literally 2 minutes left. So give me your best you can on the Poetry Festival as briefly as you can.
I'll give you my elevator pitch.
Fantastic.
So the Poetry Festival is a group of poets in Peterborough trying to create a month of sort of highlighting the amazing poetry scene, and a lot of people don't understand how amazing it is in Peterborough for the poetry scene. And what we're trying to do is trying to highlight it to the people that don't know and bring in the communities that aren't necessarily as involved at the moment. For example, our community, my community, is not as involved as they could be, and not as involved as they might have been prior in a sort of generations prior, because poetry was massive, like I said, in our community.
Of course.
And trying to bring that back and trying to sort of represent everyone in the community.
Fantastic. It sounds amazing. When does this start, this festival?
So it'll be November. We've just got our funding, so we applied to the Arts Council as well, and thankfully we got our funding, so that's fantastic.
So when things firm up, do let the station know and let me know, and we'll get you back on. We'll talk more in detail about that. Toby, I'm pointing at Toby and looking at Lukhman, other way round. So Lukhman and Toby, thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's great, fantastic. Toby and Lukhman giving us a great insight into the arts world there. We're going to come back to you straight after this track.
When you're searching for the light and you see no hope inside, be sure and have no doubt, He is always close to you. He's the one who knows you best. He knows what's in your heart. You'll find your peace at last if you just have faith in Him. You're always in my heart and mind. Your name is mentioned every day. I follow you no matter what. My biggest wish is to see you one day. 'Cause I believe, I believe, I believe. Do you believe? Oh, do you believe? 'Cause I believe in a man who used to be so full of love and harmony. He fought for peace and liberty, and never would he hurt anything. He was a mercy for mankind, a teacher till the end of time. No creature could be compared with him, so full of light and blessings. You're always in my heart and mind. Your name is mentioned every day. I follow you no matter what. God wills for me one day. 'Cause I believe, I believe, I believe. Do you believe? Oh, do you believe? If you lose your way, believe in a better day. Trials will come, but surely they will fade away. If you just believe what is meant to see, just open your heart and let His love flow through. I believe, I believe.
Irfan Maki with I Believe, one we don't play that often here on Salam Radio. Welcome back. This is, of course, Salam Radio 106.2 FM. I'm your host, Amir Suleman, and this is Friday Drive. A few minutes left and just enough time to inform you about a new survey, results of a new survey that came out today, which reveals over a third of people dismiss possible signs of blood cancer. Now, more than 40,000 people in the UK are diagnosed with blood cancer every year, and it's the UK's third biggest cause of cancer deaths and kills more people than either breast or prostate cancers. Surprising, to be quite frank. Starting blood cancer treatment early can improve its effectiveness and in some cases the chances of survival. Now, this new research from YouGov on behalf of Bloodwise has revealed that over a third of UK adults, that's 39%, had at least one symptom that could have been blood cancer in the last year, but didn't see a doctor. With symptoms such as bone or joint pain, extreme tiredness and unexplained bruising, it's easy for these signs of blood cancer to be overlooked for more common or less serious conditions. Nearly 3/4 of people, 69%, believed their symptoms were either trivial or would go away by themselves, whilst more than 1 in 10 felt that a doctor wouldn't take their concerns seriously. Of those with symptoms, a third did see a doctor, but less than 1 in 4 went within a month, and just over 1 in 10 waited at least 6 months. Ahead of Blood Cancer Awareness Month in September, Bloodwise have released a new guide to help people understand the warning signs, of blood cancer. So if you visit bloodwise.org.uk, there's literally tons of information there, very good information that will help you, and you can also reach out to people and discuss any concerns, of course, with your GP so that they can get a prompt diagnosis. The blood cancer symptoms include lumps or swellings in the neck, head, groin or stomach, areas where lymph nodes are, unexplained bruising or bleeding, unexplained weight loss, drenching night sweats, persistent, recurrent or severe infections, unexplained rash or itchy skin, bone, joint or abdominal pain, and as I said, extreme tiredness. Visit bloodwise.org.uk, and if you do have any concerns, of course, please do visit your GP. Just time now, really quickly, the Healing Minds workshop series from the Lantern Initiative, Grow to Glow, is taking place on Sunday the 6th of October. It's a breakfast and interactive workshop. Visit spottedlocally.uk/grow-to-glow. And that will give you all the information you need about this Lantern Initiative event on the 6th of November. Listen, you've been listening to me, Amir Suleman, here on Friday Drive. Do stay tuned throughout the weekend and right now for Friday Night Live on Inspire FM. Have a great weekend ahead, and thank you so much for listening. Assalamu alaikum. You're listening to Salam Radio, and it's now time for Asr Azan. This Azan is sponsored